So let's solve a few more physics problems of IIT JAM 2021. So question number 11. Let xy denote the coordinates in a rectangular Cartesian coordinate system C. Let x dash y dash denote the coordinates in another coordinate system C dash defined by x dash equals to 2x plus 3y and y dash is defined as minus 3x plus 4y. The area element in C dash is, we are given 4 options and which one is correct. So this is our xy coordinate system C. The area element is A, which is dx dy. And we have to find out the corresponding area element in the coordinate system C dash whose axes are x dash and y dash. So the area element will be dx dash dy dash. So we are going from C to C dash. That means A to A dash. You can write dA is equal to dx dy. And we are going to transform xy coordinate system to x dash y dash coordinate system using the concept of Jacobian J. So what is Jacobian? Suppose we are going from xy coordinate system to st coordinate system. Then Jacobian J is defined as J xy st, that is nothing but del xy by del st, which is determinant of del x, del s, del x, del t, del y, del s, del y, del t. So using this Jacobian, we can go from xy to st coordinate system. So here we have to go from xy to x dash y dash coordinate system. So the area element dx dy is now replaced in the st coordinate system by the area element dx dy is equal to absolute value of j, that is Jacobian, ds dt. So dx transforms into ds, dy transforms into dt corresponding, that means xy to st. Similarly, we can go from xyz to r theta phi, that means dx dy dz is equal to Jacobian times dr d theta d phi. R theta phi is the spherical polar coordinate system. So we are given x dash and y dash. So Jacobian is j x y with respect to x dash y dash, because we are going from x to x dash and y to y dash. That is del xy by del x dash y dash. But see, x dash is given in terms of x and y dash is given in terms of x and y. That means the equation tells me that x dash is transformed to x and y dash is transformed to 3x plus 4y. So it is given in a reverse way, not from x to x dash and y to y dash, given x dash to x and y dash to x and y. So this Jacobian xy by x dash y dash can be written as 1 by Jacobian x dash y dash by xy. This is the property of a Jacobian. So if I can calculate j x dash y dash with respect to xy, then taking the reciprocal of that, I can calculate jxy with respect to x dash y dash, because our area element dx dy, when transformed into the area element dx dash dy dash, the relation is dx dy is equal to mod of j dx dash dy dash, because we have to find this area element. So let's calculate jx dash y dash with respect to xy. I have used J1 for the case of x dash y dash with respect to xy. This one is a Debye index. So J1 x dash y dash with respect to xy is given by this determinant del x dash by del x, del y dash by del x, and del x dash by del y, and del y dash by del y. We are given x dash equal to 2x plus 3y, y dash equal to minus 3x plus 4y. So taking the derivative of x dash with respect to x gives me 2, del y dash by del x gives me minus 3, del x dash by del y gives me 3, and del y dash by del y gives me 4. Therefore, putting these values, all these values into this determinant, we get Z1 is equal to 17. So from 1, our 1 is this one, jxy with respect to x dash y dash equal to 1 by j1 x dash y dash with respect to xy. So putting this value, we get jxy with respect to x dash y dash is equal to 1 by 17. Therefore, dx dy is equal to absolute value of j times dx dash dy dash, which is 1 by 17, d dash dy dash. So that is the area element in C dash coordinate system. So option A is correct. So using this Jacobian concept, we can go from x, y, z to r theta phi coordinate system. So if my volume element d tau in x, y, z coordinate system is dx, dy, dz, then it will be Jacobian J. We will have dr x r y theta, so dy d theta, z phi, so del z del phi. We have to only calculate absolute value of J. So let's solve the next problem, question number 1. It says the function e to the power cos x is Taylor expanded about x equal to 0. The coefficient of x square is, 4 options are given and which one is the correct one. So the Taylor series for the function of x, that is fx, at x equal to a is given by fx equals to fa plus x minus a f dash a plus 1 by factorial 2 x minus a square f double dash a dot 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 1 by factorial n x minus a to the power n, then nth derivative of that function at x equal to a. This is our Taylor series. Equation number 1. When I put a equals to 0, that means x is 0. So when we expand the Taylor series about x equal to 0, the series becomes Maclaurin series. The Maclaurin series for fx is the Taylor series about the origin. X equal to 0 means about the origin. So putting a equals to 0 in 1, we get the Maclaurin series for fx. So fx is equal to, now we are going to put a equals to 0, that means f0 plus x f dash 0 plus 1 by factorial 2 x square f double dash 0 dot 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 plus 1 by factorial n x to the power n, nth derivative of the function at 0. So this is my 2 equation. What we need to calculate? The coefficient of x square. In this Maclaurin series or the Taylor series about the origin is this one is the coefficient of x square. So what is the function? Fx is equal to e to the power cos x. So first order derivative f dash x, that is e to the power cos x, then derivative of cos x minus sin x. Then second order derivative, because here it is second order derivative, minus sign is outside of the bracket. Derivative of sin x is cos x, e to the power cos x is constant, plus sin x is constant. Derivative of e to the power cos x is e to the power cos x times minus sin x. That gives me cos x e to the power cos x plus minus minus sin square x e to the power cos x. What do we need to do now? Put x equal to 0. So that will give me f double dash 0 is equal to cos 0 1 e to the power 0 e to the power cos 0, that is e to the power 1, minus this one is 0, this one is 1. That gives me minus e. So what is the coefficient? Coefficient is 1 by factorial 2 f double dash 0. That means e by 2. So answer B is correct. B is equal to minus e by 2. So this is our answer. Next, move to the next problem. Problem number 2. It says let M is a 2 by 2 matrix. Its trace is 6 and its determinant has value 8. Its eigenvalues are 4 options are given. Which one is the right one? So let's see the properties of eigenvalues. There are several properties. We are going to use 2 of them. Number 1, the sum of the eigenvalues of a matrix is its trace. So if lambda 1 and lambda 2 are the eigenvalues of this 2 by 2 square matrix, then lambda 1 plus lambda 2 is equal to trace of n. What is the trace? 6. This is number 1. Next property, the product of the eigenvalues, lambda 1 times lambda 2 of a matrix A is equal to its determinant. What is the value of the determinant given? 8. This is my equation number 2. We have to find out lambda 1 and lambda 2. So lambda 1 minus lambda 2 square can be written as lambda 1 plus lambda 2 square minus 4 lambda 1 lambda 2. Lambda 1 plus lambda 2 is 6, that is 6 square, minus 4 lambda 1 lambda 2, which is 8. So that gives me 36 minus 32, which is equal to 4. Therefore, lambda 1 minus lambda 2 is equal to 2. So we have lambda 1 plus lambda 2 is equal to 6 and lambda 1 minus lambda 2 equals to 2. Adding 1 and 3, we get lambda 1 is equal to 4. And then from equation 2, which is lambda 1 lambda 2 is equal to 8, we get lambda 2 is equal to 2. So lambda 1 lambda 2 are 4 and 2 respectively. So answer option A is correct. Next question. Question number 6. For a semiconductor material, the conventional flat band energy diagram is shown in the figure. The variables y, x respectively are conventional flat band. Okay, this is my conduction band. And this is my valence band. We are familiar with this kind of band. And generally we write band gap EG is equal to EC minus EV. So this is my EC and this is my EV. And this is the band gap. So this axis is my energy axis. In the question, it is given y-axis. So y-axis corresponds to energy. What about the x-axis? Let's look at a energy band diagram of a unbiased PN junction. We are all familiar with this kind of band diagram. So this is my conduction band. This is my valence band of P type, and dot 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 is the conduction band, and this one is our valence band of a N type semiconductor. You know that there is a depletion region when we merge P type and N type semiconductor, and this is the depletion region. And in that picture, you will always see that x-axis is your distance. This is also like a flat band. Only we have the depletion region, and we have barrier potential, and we have barrier energy, so on and so forth, because of the movement of the electrons and the holes. ECP is the conduction band of the P-type material. EVP is the valence band of the P-type material. ECN is the conduction band of the N-type material, and EVN is the valence band, energy of the valence band of the N-type material. Due to the merging of P-type and N-type, our conduction band of the N-type material is little bit lower. And EB is the barrier energy, which we know. So, due to the merging of P-type and N-type, our conduction band of the N-type material is little bit lower. And EB is the barrier energy, which we know. So, distance is measured, the energy is measured along, the distance is measured along x-axis. So in this case, our distance is along x-axis. So option B, energy distance, is correct. So x is our distance and y is our energy. Now the question is, there is another option, which is energy momentum, that is option A, and also momentum energy, which is option D. So energy is y-axis. So therefore this momentum energy option is not applicable, and distance energy option is also not applicable in this case. But what about the energy momentum, which is option A? Do we use this kind of energy momentum relation? Yes. When we draw the band diagram like this. So when E is this, so these are the band, and another band is this way. We plot E energy as a function of momentum K, basically P, which is H cross K or K equal to 2 pi by lambda, and depending on the distance, it is lambda by A or 2 pi by A, something like that, using Bloch theorem. So remember, when we are given flat band, it is always energy versus distance. When we are given parabolic like energy band diagram, it is energy momentum. Let's move to question number 3. A planet is in a highly eccentric orbit about a star. It is basically a Kepler's laws problem. As soon as you read the first line, a planet is in a highly eccentric orbit about a star. Because from Kepler's laws of planetary motion, we know that planet moves in an elliptical orbit with sun at one of its foci. The distance of its closest approach is 300 times smaller than its farthest distance from the star. If the corresponding speeds are Vc and Vf, then Vc by Vf is, which one is correct? So I have put a note. Since planet moves under central force, because planets are moving under central force which is directed towards the sun. Here it is given star. Angular momentum is conserved, which is L. And hence the aerial velocity is constant. We can show that dA by dt, which is the aerial velocity, is equal to L by twice m. M is the mass of the planet. This is the second law of Kepler's laws of planetary motion. This law implies that whenever a planet is nearest to the sun, its speed is maximum because aerial velocity is constant. And when it is farthest from the sun, then its speed is minimum. So I have drawn this elliptical orbit of the planet around the star. Here is my star, you can say sun, and the F1 is one focus, and F2 is another focus. There is nothing at the other focus because my star is at focus F1 and F2 has nothing. The planet is moving like this. When it is closest to the star or sun, the distance is r1, and when it is farthest, the distance is r2. What is given? The distance of its closest approach, which is r1, is 300 times smaller than its farthest distance from the star, that is r2. So r2 by r1 is 300. Using the conservation of angular momentum, we can write m v1 r1, that means over here, is equal to m v2 r2, that means here. So we have v1 r1 is equal to v2 r2. We are given r2 by r1 is equal to 300. Therefore, v1 by v2 is equal to r2 by r1, which is 300. V1 here is denoted by Vc. So V1 is Vc and V2 is Vf. So 300 is equal to Vc by Vf. So option D is correct. And you see Vc is equal to 300 times of Vf. And this is what the Kepler's second law of planetary motion, which says that whenever a planet is nearest to the sun, its speed is maximum. And when it is farthest from the sun, its speed is minimum. And our solution exactly tells that Vc is equal to 300 times Vf. So option D is correct in this problem. I'll stop here and tomorrow I'll solve a few more problems.